Myles Jack, welcome to Philly. Howie have been waiting for you. And the Eagles had their public practice, 50,000 people strong, as Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense lit it up. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by doing King Dingbat here. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. Do you smell the fear coming from Dallas? Do you hear the quietness coming from Dallas? Yet, there is a little whisper and they're saying this. How we do that? How he do that? How he do that? How do he do that? How did Howie do it is what they're trying to say. Howie Roseman signs Myles Jack, and we have been waiting for this to happen. We have been waiting for this for a while, and this is just in time. As well, Eagles public practice today. 50,000 Eagle fans were in attendance. Amazing. We're going to get into it all in a second, but before we do that, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, the most throttled Eagles content creator in all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, thank you so much for your support. If you were in my live stream earlier today, over 1,000 people at one point in time. Shout out to each and every one of you guys, and thank you for the support of hanging out with me. And shout out to King DV Sports, King Dave Sports. Thank you so much. He was streaming the Eagles Open practice, and he was allowing us to watch it. And I just wanted to tell him thank you so much. It was really kind of him, and we definitely appreciate it on the channel. Now, before the Eagles started practice, right, their public practice, I was getting ready to live stream. I thought I was having an easy Sunday. It was going to be like, you know, we're going to chill out. I was doing some things. I'm playing around with all these wireless mics, trying to figure out how they work, what sounds best, all this stuff, trying to get ready for the season. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we get this. Eagles signed offensive lineman Josh Andrews, and they waived injured wide receiver Charleston Rambo and released linebacker Davion Taylor. Now, when I read this, my first thought that popped in my mind was, ooh, they're getting rid of a linebacker when they're already thin at linebacker. Could they possibly go out and maybe sign a Myles Jack or something like that? And I said, whatever. And I went back to doing what I was doing. And then I updated my thumbnail, my title, because I figured I'd include that in it since I was getting ready to stream with it like in the next hour. And then all of a sudden, boom, more breaking news. Eagles have agreed to terms with linebacker Myles Jack and linebacker Zach Cunningham on one-year deals. And I said, boom, there it is. Howie has done it again. Howie Roseman, the little guy with his Napoleon hat, his pencil pocket, pencil protector, his glasses, he's calculating the calculations of the cornbread, and he figured out what we already knew. You needed to add depth at the linebacking position. I think when NAKOBE went out, I think, it was very simple and very easy, and we talked about this in previous videos. When NAKOBE went out, it was like, wow, yeah, this linebacking core is really thin. You lose one guy, and it's bad. The Eagles need to basically add depth. And that was my thought process. And we've heard a lot about Christian Ellis and how Christian Ellis has been he's been looking good since OTAs, and a lot of people think he's making a move. And we're hearing he's getting first-team reps over Nicholas Morrow. And you're thinking, well, is he that good? Is he playing that good? Or is Morrow struggling? And we really didn't know. There were reports coming out of camp that Morrow had been struggling. So we did hear some things about that. How true, I don't know. When they don't have their pads on and they can't hit, I think it's kind of hard to tell. However, what the Eagles just did, was they added a very capable linebacker, a kid that has tremendous upside. He's been slowed down by injuries, and maybe he's not the best in coverage. But what Myles Jack gives you is an upgrade on what you had. He is legitimately going to come in and start. It's going to be Myles Jack and NAKOBE Dean. I believe that to the fullest. I don't believe that NAKOBE Dean has got the Eagles scared because of injuries, stuff like that. We don't have to believe that. A lot of people want to say, well, that's because NAKOBE Dean's not good. That's the reason why they're going out and getting Myles Jack. But I don't think it has anything to do with it. I really don't. I think what it has to do with is they needed depth and Nicholas Morrow. I think NAKOBE Dean, Nick Sirianni said today, he said Dean is on his way back, should be back next week. He's almost there. So Dean is not going to be out that long. He's going to be back. However, I do think there's an issue with Morrow. I don't know how much they like him. And it may be a situation where they want to bring Myles Jack in maybe to be used on first or second down. And in passing situations where Morrow's a little bit better, that's where you would put him. They might want to do that. But they needed to add depth. And to me, Myles Jack is the perfect guy to add because to me, he comes in and he's a starter. Now, I'm going to say something that may be somewhat controversial, but that's what we do on this channel. I believe, truly in my heart of hearts, that after this season's all said and done, we are going to look back at the linebacking group and we're going to say this group was better than what they had a year ago. I believe with Dean and Myles Jack, I believe the Eagles' linebacking core is better because Kyzir White, he disappeared the second half of the season. He completely disappeared. Then you have NAKOBE Dean. Well, NAKOBE Dean, the Eagles like a lot. And the Eagles liked TJ Edwards. They did. They liked TJ Edwards. TJ Edwards went to Chicago. Now, he didn't break the bank to go to Chicago. If the Eagles really wanted to pay him that money, they could have paid him. I think it was like $8 or $9 million. They could have done it. They didn't want to do it because they believe in NAKOBE Dean. You see, the Eagles actually think NAKOBE Dean's going to be good. They actually believe in him. So, to me, they think they have an upgrade from NAKOBE Dean to TJ Edwards. And now, I think with Myles Jack, I think he replaces Kyzir White. So I think the Eagles have now upgraded their linebacking spot. And, I will say this. Zach Cunningham is another good linebacker who's had some really, really good years in the past, who could come in and he can give you reps. He could start if he needs to, but as a rotational piece, all of a sudden, this linebacking core is pretty deep. Now you get linebackers who actually have played in the league and can come in and help you out right away. I think of this similar to what we saw last year when the Eagles needed defensive tackles. They needed depth there. They went out and got Sue. They went out and got Kellen Joseph. And what did it do? The two guys with the depth and the rotation, it was enough. It was what they needed. Same thing with the linebacking position. The Eagles, this is a very smart move. This is a very good move. And the Eagles now are better at linebacker. Are they greatest team at linebacker position? No, but they're good enough. They're good enough for what they need and for how they value the linebacking position. The question is going to be this. What position are they going to go for next? What is the next shoe to drop? I still think you got to watch the safety position. I think they like Reed Blankenship. I think they like Sidney Brown for the future. But do they feel that they have enough, especially in terms of depth at the safety position? Yet to be determined. Yet to be determined. Wide receiver, possibly the same situation. And then in the punting situation, I think you need to add a punter. Everything we're hearing about the punters at practice tonight, they're just punters. That's it. Sipos is leading the battle, and it is what it is. So, I don't know. I think that the punting situation would be great if the Eagles could go out and upgrade it. But today, Myles Jack coming to Philly, A++++++ move by the Philadelphia Eagles. You gotta absolutely love it. Now, as we said earlier, today was public practice. Both Cunningham and Jack were both in attendance. They didn't practice, but they were there, and they must have been like, wow, this is what we're talking about. This is what it's like to be on an NFL team in a city that's passionate. Now, Myles Jack will know a little bit about that because of Pittsburgh, but it's a great thing. And those guys got to come in and see that. Eagles were practicing. From everything that I saw, what really stood out to me about this practice, and I didn't get to see all of it or as much because You know, it's at the stadium and you're streaming and things like that. But one of the things that really was noticeable for me, especially watching this offense, was this team is going to use the running back out of the backfield a ton. They're going to use it a ton. They kept putting out DeAndre Swift. They kept making throws to him. DeAndre Swift in the passing game is going to be deadly. This is a true dual threat weapon for the Eagles. And I've said this before. I'll say this again. When you add a receiver out of the backfield for this offense, for Jalen Hurts, who can beat you so many different ways, especially with his legs, with his arm, and now, how are you going to stop it? How are you going to guard A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert? Oh, then Jalen Hurts, he can run the ball. So you're going to go put a spy on him? What are you going to do? Who's going to count for the running back? You're not going to be able to stop this offense. This offense, especially practice, it looks nasty. It looks like they're going to score 30 points, 35 points a game. This offense looks unstoppable. It really does. They're that talented. It's just the way it is. And then what I saw, couple things stood out to me too. Trey Sermon, he looked like he's running pretty well. I really want to see Trey Sermon get a lot of carries during camp because he reminds me of Jay Ajayi. So this offense is going to be unstoppable. The other thing I saw that I really liked was the defense. The defense and that pass rush is nasty. That pass rush was getting to the quarterback. One play, it was like the final play where the second team offense was on the field and they were trying to get 2-point conversion or last touchdown. They brought pressure, and man, they wind up hitting Mariota. You're not supposed to hit the quarterback. They wind up running into him. He got knocked down because that defense pressure, those guys were coming. This is a nasty, nasty defensive line. And looking at Nolan Smith out there on the field again, my gosh, did you see this guy? He's so fast off the line. He's pushing the offensive lineman back. He had another sack, maybe even two. He might have had one. I saw one for sure that was all Nolan Smith. You got to get him on the field. Have to get him on the field. Him, Hassan Reddick. This is a scary defense. Very scary. And it's going to be really interesting to see how Sean Desai likes to use this talent. It seems like to me, just from what I was watching, it seems like he's a little more aggressive. He likes to take it at the offense a little more than Gannon did. And I think that just even a little bit more will be huge for the Eagles. It will pay huge dividends. So Eagles practice 50,000 people strong. I'm still waiting on my Kelly Green to get there. I did see some of them in the on the stream in the stadium. Oh my gosh, they look so good. And that's the other thing. I bet you Myles Jack and stuff. I bet you they said, dude, I want to go play with the Kelly Green. I want to wear the Kelly Green. Yeah, I'll do it. I'm going to wear the Kelly Green. Got to. That's probably why they signed with the Eagles. No doubt about it. But today was a big day for the Philadelphia Eagles. Today is another day in which Howie Roseman proves that he makes moves during training camp. He's never done, and he's always going to better himself. The Eagles got significantly better today. The Eagles impressed, especially to me, their offense and that defensive line. Impressed at camp, at practice, the public practice, and we're just sitting pretty. Tomorrow, I'll have at least one video out, maybe two, and maybe or maybe not do a live stream. Eagles are off tomorrow, so we're just going to have to see how everything plays out. But thanks again for everybody who was with me hanging out in the live stream. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. Do you smell that? Do you smell that? That's the smell of fear. Do you hear the quietness coming from Dallas? It is quiet, but there is a whisper, and they're saying, how he do that? How he do that? How he do that? That's right, Howie did do that. Howie Roseman signs Myles Jack, and the NFC East is in dread. They are scared because the Eagles just took their thinnest position and just made it a deep position, one of the best positions, I predict. Myles Jack, NAKOBE Dean are your starters. That is going to be a nasty, nasty, nasty defensive linebacking core. The Eagles are only getting better, and that's what's great about the Eagles. Howie Roseman is never done. NAKOBE Dean, Myles Jack, holy crap. Eagles are kicking butt. Let's go.